Corporate restructuring in the modern economy takes place every day, also in Europe. Too often it is driven by short-term interests of the capital market and shareholders. It often leads to a drastic downsizing or the worsening of work conditions for employees.
In general, we see there is more trend to more short-termism, which means decisions are taken very soon and very strong and without informing the workers' representatives. And now, over the last 5 years, we see there are more job losses and job gains throughout this restructuring.
Theoretically, there are 4 main forms of restructuring, but in most real cases one will find a combination of 2 or more. The most common form is internal restructuring. It normally includes reorganization, contracting out in public services, and other forms of rationalization. Often it is also the introduction of new technology that bring changes. According to the European Restructuring Monitor, around 7 out of 10 job losses were caused by internal restructuring since 2008. The most drastic form of restructuring is bankruptcy and closure. During the crisis, the number of organizations that had to close down increased, also because of the credit crunch. In most cases, small and medium-sized businesses are affected by bankruptcy. Since 2008, 1/5 of all job losses were due to bankruptcy or closure. The next form of restructuring is caused by mergers and acquisition. However, mergers are often followed by an internal restructuring, for example, to increase synergies, which accounted for 3% of job losses. The final form of restructuring includes offshoring and relocation of production or services. In recent years, this was related to around 4% of all job losses in Europe.
It's often argued that if you restructure the public sector, if you privatize services, if you contract out services, if you liberalize services, jobs will emerge in other parts of the economy. There, in terms of evidence, is that in the electricity sector, over a period of 10-15 years, more than 330,000 jobs had disappeared. But we can't see the evidence in other sectors.
From 2008 to 2014, restructuring in Europe created about 1.4 million new jobs. But at the same time, nearly 3 million jobs have been cut. This is a clear deficit on the side of the employees.
We quite frankly see a dramatic tendency that the medium-skilled jobs, the medium-paid jobs are disappearing. We have seen this already in industry, in manufacturing, but now we see this in the services sector. We see a certain split that we get more high-level, high-skilled jobs, which are also high-paid, of course, and we get an increasing number of jobs which are low-paid, precarious.
Even though it's mandatory, there is often no consultation with the employee representatives and trade unions. Social considerations often do not play any role either. In many cases, the affected employees only receive notice of staff reduction when the decision has been made. Thus, the legal rule that employee representatives should be informed and consulted already at an early stage, both when it comes to making decisions as well as implementing the restructuring measures, too often is not applied.